You're in the village, you don't have the city life exposure, right? So you got to kind of, build up your material. And then on top of that, there's that limiting factor of not being able to talk about governmental or, political stuff.
So first of all, somebody, a legendary comedian back in Zimbabwe at that time, his name was Edgar Langerveld. Shout out.
Edgar Langerveld.
Yeah.
Was he Zimbabwean?
He's Zimbabwean, yes.
Black dude?
Black dude,
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, mixed, There's a word that Americans don't want to, because...
Biracial?
No, we don't call
Mulatto?
them. No, there's a word.
Colored?
No. Yes.
Colored.
Oh, yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
That's what Tyla
who got in trouble for that?
That Tyla.
Tyla,
got in trouble with that. I feel like in South Africa there's a whole race of people that identify as that.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, I will say
to
this.
Americans it is.
Yeah, to Americans, but it's such an American syndrome because I remember that whole Tyla thing came out. I was kind of bothered by that because I was like, well, how dare you impose your system and belief based off of how she grew up in a totally different country, and then to try to cancel her or whatever for using the term color. Like for example, just in generation, like my father-in-law is black, and in his generation they were called. They were called black was bad, and he was used to being called Negro, and so whenever he hears the term black, it's like, because that was something that was negative to him back then, and then we've adopted it in our culture now in this time as black being like, oh, okay, that's the very safe term to use, But he could not stand the term black, and I thought like that's very interesting, but. How dare anyone says, hey, well, this is how we do it in America, and if you use this term, they'd be like, wait, I grew up in a totally different country.
But either way, it's all European colonialism, racism, and the fact that you call it, because colored in America, they called you colored, and it was almost an insult. There's a colored bathroom, white this. Colored, so that pain that African American is understandable. I understand hers, but then you come into America trying to get black fans. So you trying to get us to buy your and now you want to battle us. So I understand it. It sucks. But it would be better if we all like understood. Go, where does this come from? Learn the history of it, and then we can go. Oh, we get it. Not just go, I'm colored to the, you're singing. You're trying to sell to us, because most of the times everybody want black people to accept them. So,
but there is also a cultural, like default, like if that's how you grew up, that's how you grew up. Like for a long time, like with my father-in-law, I was really taken aback by that. And he was truly offended by, or was truly offended by the term black, but that was like, that was his generation.
But that's his generation.
No one's ever called me black as a negative thing. It was like, oh, that's a strong black man. It was more of a positive thing. So where do you draw the line? You go, okay, well, what generation are you from and what country are you from?
Well, black can be negative too. They'll be like, you black. Sometimes it's used as derogatory. So there's that, because back in the day, probably in his time, it was like, you black boy, you black. And black people use it on each other. Kick your black. It's always a bad term. So there's a lot of trauma with
and
that. Go ahead.
Also, I dated a colored girl recently,
Oh, No.
Look at this guy.
I dated a colored girl.
So she came to America just to visit me, right? And
he's looking to make sure he's safe. This is how she identified.
Them colored ones.
This is how she identified, right? Right.
I dated a colored black Negro girl.
So I was in New York at that time, right? We just in this. We just, in an Uber, right? And one of our friends is African American, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm colored," And you should have seen me
triggered.
Yes, you could see it. Like, she just as soon as my ex, she's not my ex, said it. There was a hole. There was like a like a wall. You couldn't. You couldn't. So we tried to explain to her that, my name is Tyla. But my girlfriend at that time, her parents are not black and white. They are also colored, both of them.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
So they have a whole generations and generations of just colored people that I just identify as colored.
Wow.
You see? So it's not mixed. It's a whole totally different
thing.
race
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Wow.
And there are a lot of them in South Africa. A lot. There's communities
Yeah.
of
Color, and they don't like
people.
the black Africans too. I saw this thing where the colored like
there is,
like,
because
we don't like the black.
There
We
is
don't
a
like the
different.
black.
It's a different race.
Even though they got black in them.
yeah,
they don't like the black South Africans.
Yeah, it's
Now sick shit.
It's a whole thing now.
So it's like, so then it turns
There's a
into
conflict.
colorism, like almost colorism?
Oh,
or
now
is
it becomes, yes.
Yeah.
So now there was a whole debate now about, like,
It's disgusting.
Now,
It all trickles down.
Does that happen in Zimbabwe? Because, I like to think that the unifying factor is that we all come from the continent of Africa. And, I've always been part of this, and I love, you start getting into history about, the Pan-African movement, about bringing us all together, like the labels and the different names and all of that stuff has created such a separation,
by design.
By design.
Yeah.
Sure.
Does that happen in Zimbabwe?
Of course.
Really?
Oh, tribalism.
Tribalism.
We always, there's the Ndebele, there's the Shonas, and there's always, I love my Ndebele people, but there's always this, little unspoken, thing between us, And also the South Africans and Zimbabweans, there's been xenophobic stuff happening. And Nigerians too, when Nigerians go to
They hate South Africa. Yeah, they're going against South Africans.
Yes. So when I was...
They hate who?
Yeah, well, there's a big thing where this guy I was watching last year, he goes, we have to get rid of the Nigerians. They're taking our women.
Yes.
We got game.
The truth.
The Nigerians, they say, they're
That's
taking
actually
this
true.
guy. And it was some punk though.
Yeah.
He's like, they're taking our women.
Yeah.
They're taking our women. I go, you gotta have swag.
Yeah, but Nigerians
bro.
are taking
the
our
Nigerians
women
are like
too.
this.
But that's actually the truth.
Nigerians, but see,
You guys
Nigerians
are taking our women. Like, for real.
He said, it's like, they're taking our women. I was like, you ain't got no game,
Because the women themselves have said it. The women in Southern Africa, they've said it. Like, we like Nigerian men.
Yeah,
and we hate,
let's go, baby.
we
I'm
hate
right
that
here. Hey,
No,
South Africa, we right here.
Nah.
There was like this rating system that was going on globally. It was like the most attractive men in the world.
It's
and
number one, Nigerians.
Nigerians were
Yeah,
like,
Yo, hold on.
Man.
Hold on.
I didn't do the poll.
They said there was these white dudes that did it.
Yeah.
They had a poll on the most handsome man. It was Nigeria was number one, and there was a dude who did the handsome. It was a contest, international model contest. A Nigerian dude won, beat the Italians, beat all of them. I think it was perfect. Like,
Yeah. No, we hate the Nigerians because
yo,
of that.
check it out. I just want to say this to the South African ladies, man.
No,
Man, right here. Godfrey Comic is my Instagram.
Don't
Send
listen to
that
that.
DM, son.
Don't listen to
I'm
that.
right here. I do the Zulu. I do the Zulu stuff. I do the Zulu stuff.
Oh, no.
I do the Zulu
I hate
stuff.
it.
He's saying he Nigerian with a New York accent.
Yes, I'll do the...
Wait, what? Crenshaw, relax. Are we serious? He's like, yo, cuz. What Crenshaw? Crip walk, nigga. Yo, like I said, I'm single. Yo, South Africa, what's good?
All right.